Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. We got another Luke Kornet segment on deck. I'm not even forcing it. These are big developments on the Celtics team.
You kind of ran it by me, but I don't know, Bobby. You were kind of pushing the issue here. But it's okay. It's relevant.
Well, I'm just going to listen here. I've said all there is to say about Luke Kornet. 9 points, 8 rebounds. Great performance off the bench here with Al Horford sitting. They needed Blake Griffin, who we talked about in our last video, to step up. He did, but he also ran into some foul trouble. So the second unit comes in. He stays there. I think that's a big reason they start Griffin on these nights where Horford sits. And all that cohesion was still there, including one play where I think Smart picked up a stop, fired it up the floor to Kornet on an alley-oop. And then Kornet comes flying back into the timeout huddle with the, you do it, because I got the mic here. There you go.
And then, what was it, like 7 players from the bench did the same thing as if like they had been practicing this thing. And me, fresh off vacation, I'm like, Bobby, have they been doing this the last couple of games? You're like, no, absolutely not. But I guess it was a shout out to Stromile Swift, who was one of the fun dunkers of that time, of that era, the early 2000s, that would just, man, you turn on SportsCenter and it was like almost every other game he had some crazy highlight, whether it was on a fast break or whether he was just dunking on someone's neck. Like, he was one of those vicious dunkers who didn't have a long, NBA career, but was remembered for that for sure.
And that was before me. I think he retired in 09, played
Something
2000s.
like that, yeah.
So I wasn't familiar with Stromile Swift, but that's a guy you remember doing that.
Well, as soon as he did that, I thought about that, but then I was like, no, there's no way. And then I think it was they did the post-game interview here on the floor. They picked Luke Kornet. D'Amico asked him about it, and he's just like, oh, Stromile. As soon as he said Stromile, I was like, man, that was for Stromile Swift. So, yeah, I was surprised, but I guess it was from Grant as well, too, right?
Yeah, here's what Luke said was the inspiration for that celebration.
The bird.
It was an homage to Stromile Swift. Yeah. Well, Grant's the original Stromile of our team, but we can share it around. Yeah.
I've been waiting to bust that one out, or just?
You didn't. It's been in the back pocket for a little while. Yeah. Just trying to. Yeah.
Can you give us like the backstory? Like, why do you have an homage to Stromile Swift?
Well, there's a couple times last year where Grant was just elevating on guys, and so we drew the comp to Stromile Swift, and there's some alternate nicknames, and so then it's just been wanting to have it. It's a great celebration, and I realized it's more. Grant, for one, has some similarities, but I felt like I myself was just like it was looking in the mirror. So, they deemed it appropriate.
Yeah, so we'll have to catch up with Grant next time we see him to figure out where that one came from on his end. I guess he went to Tennessee, but he was from North Carolina. He must have seen him growing up, too.
He must have been like 5, so I don't know if he has an older brother.
Yeah, he's my age.
Yeah, so like he either has an older brother, and I can attest to that too. Like, my older brother Joel, like that sort of influence. You end up watching sports, or you're more caught up into it at a much younger age, as opposed to if you didn't have that older brother. So that's probably what it is, and also where he came from. But yeah, shout out to Stromile Swift though, because he was one of those vicious dunkers, and I guess we had to catch up with Grant for sure.
So Luke in this game, 4-4. He's on a nice string of games where he's playing some extra minutes, providing good steadiness at the backup role. We've talked about him a lot over the last couple of games here. Where are you at on him at this point in the season?
I'm impressed, Bobby. I really am. I mean, look, I'll keep it 100. The first couple of weeks of the season, I was saying, look, let's see what Noah Vonleh can give you. I like the sort of stretch big that he is, sort of like a young Bobby Portis, I used to say, in a way. And I thought that he could evolve into someone special that could really contribute to this team. But Luke Kornet has snatched those minutes, and rightfully so, because he's able to contribute on both ends of the floor. I just think he has great hands. And I think whether you're looking for an alley-oop, he's able to do that for you. You saw what Marcus Smart did, and it got this crowd going crazy. Or just grabbing rebounds, or just protecting the rim. I mean, he does get in foul trouble a bit. I think that's something he does have to work on. But you look at who he used to be last season, and his footwork has improved a lot, which I noticed from preseason. But I just didn't. I'll be honest. For him to sustain this type of production, I didn't see that coming. So I'm impressed. I really am, and I think that all jokes aside, I never like to give Bobby a hard time during the Celtics postgame show about it. I think that this is the kind of role that the Celtics, it's necessary. Like, you need someone like that to come off the bench and to contribute. And, when guys get into foul trouble, and it adds to that depth. And then, sure, Blake Griffin is also one of those guys, right? But they both kind of give you something different. And I think that they're able to, you can blend them into lineups, that you wouldn't necessarily see other teams being able to do that, because they're all this team offensively is just on another stratosphere compared to other teams in the NBA. And he just blends right in, and he just gets that. And I think that's why this whole thing isn't a fluke, you know?
Yeah, and I talked to Sam Hauser after the game because they came up in Maine. And I think they were both playing in a system in Maine that prepared them for this. So credit to the Celtics for kind of bringing those guys up through the system, which we haven't seen them do a lot of.
Yeah.
Good defense too. That block on Kai Jones was awesome in the post. And the confidence is growing.
For sure.
You saw him like passing up open looks early in the year. Now he's looking to get downhill and catch those lobs, which I didn't even really see being a big part of his game this year. We're brought to you by Com. I'm going to try to stay calm on this Kornet development, but I'll admit I'm very excited. Com.com/garden gets you 40% off a premium subscription when you go over there. Sleep sounds, meditation, more. The whole premium library is 40% off. You can't beat that, even on Cyber Monday. Com.com/garden. And Athletic Greens, athleticgreens.com. This one's a great gift/garden. 5 free travel packs, year supply of vitamin D. And try it for a month. You're going to get a cool bottle. You're going to get a nice container to store it in. All that premium vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, probiotics, whole food source. Go there, check it out. Check the reviews. They're through the roof. athleticgreens.com/garden. For Josue, Pavon, Bobby Manning, Celtics 140-105 winners over the Hornets. Another blowout win. They got a mini series coming up against the Heat later this week. Stay tuned for coverage from shoot around and more as they play on Wednesday and Friday night here at TD Garden before a massive West Coast road trip into December.